Madison Bumgarner kicks off the homestand, and there's nobody else the Giants would rather have on the mound after a rough road trip. Scott Kazmir started the season in Oakland, but the Astros picked him up last month, and he's one of the best lefties in the American League. It's Bumgarner, Kazmir, Giants, Astros, and it's next.
It's a Tuesday night here at the corner of 3rd and King as we get ready for Giants baseball. They're back home, and this is game 1 of this short 2-game series. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper. Alongside me is Mike Krukow. Well, the road trip ended rough for the Giants. Obviously, everybody knows they lost their last 4 straight in Chicago, but what the Giants needed was a little time off. They got that yesterday. And they needed Madison Bumgarner. So here we go. Tonight, Bumgarner on the hill.
Well, and they need a stop job. The last time they won a game, he was on the mound. Now, Bumgarner's last 5 starts, he's 3-1 with a 2.08 ERA. And he's going to take that golden arm against these Astros, who we know pitch well, catch the ball well, and they hit home runs. And the guy he faces, Scott Kazmir, is as hot as he has been. This will be start number 4 for him in an Astro uniform. He could have won all 3. He's won 2, but he's pitched good in every ball game. So it'll be definitely a pitching ball game tonight.
All right, should be good. A couple of left-handers tonight here at the Yard. Stay tuned. We'll take you to our Comcast Sportsnet studios for an update, and we'll do that right after this.
garlic herb butter. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Your San Francisco Giants very glad to be back in the Bay after a long and frustrating 3-7 road trip. They look to turn it around tonight against a very tough club as they kick off a 2-game interleague series with the Houston Astros. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Amy Gutierrez, and it is always good to have your ace, Madison Bumgarner, on the hill when you're looking to snap a rough skid. Now, a repeat performance of his last outing would be a very welcome sight. Let's take a look back at it right now. It's our AT&T Uverse Rewind. Last Wednesday in Atlanta, the reigning World Series MVP dominant against the Braves, going 7 1/3. He threw 116 pitches, allowing 7 hits and 1 run. He also struck out 9 and did not issue a walk. It was Bumgarner's 4th start this season where he pitched at least 7 innings and didn't issue a free pass. So Madison tonight is looking for his 13th win so far this season. His teammates, though, are looking for him to be the stopper, and it is going to be a southpaw showdown. Madison facing against Scott Kazmir. We've got lineups. First pitch, we've got Kruk and Kipe, so don't go away. It's all coming your way.
Area is brought to you by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Your San Francisco Giants very glad to be back in the Bay after a long and frustrating 3-7 road trip. They look to turn it around tonight against a very tough club as they kick off a 2-game interleague series with the Houston Astros. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Amy Gutierrez, and it is always good to have your ace, Madison Bumgarner, on the hill when you're looking to snap a rough skid. Now, a repeat performance of his last outing would be a very welcome sight. Let's take a look back at it right now. It's our AT&T Uverse Rewind. Last Wednesday in Atlanta, the reigning World Series MVP dominant against the Braves, going 7 1/3. He threw 116 pitches, allowing 7 hits and 1 run. He also struck out 9 and did not issue a walk. It was Bumgarner's 4th start this season where he pitched at least 7 innings and didn't issue a free pass. So Madison tonight is looking for his 13th win so far this season. His teammates, though, are looking for him to be the stopper, and it is going to be a southpaw showdown. Madison facing against Scott Kazmir. We've got lineups, first pitch. We've got Kruk and Kipe. So don't go away. It's all coming your way.
All right, our game time weather is presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Good time to get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. 66 degrees here at the yard. You see the winds a bit brisk, humidity at 70%, and it is breezy. Bumgarner takes them on. The lineup that he'll be facing for the Astros, it'll be Altuve. He's going to lead it off, followed by Gomez, and then Carlos Correa, the kid. And you can see what he's done since he got called up in June. He's fabulous. Evan Gattis is going to be the cleanup hitter. Then it's Lowry, Carter, and Conger. Marisnick is going to hit in the A spot. And then the former A, Scott Kazmir, will hit ninth.
On the hill tonight for the Giants will be the left-hander, Madison Bumgarner, making his 23rd start of the year. Bumgarner, 12-6 with a 3.28 ERA. 148 strikeouts, 145 and a third against just 26 walks in the last 5 starts. How good has he been? He's 3-1 with a 2.08 ERA. He has cranked it up as we've gotten into the dog days of August. When you take your bats against him, you're going to get a low 3/4 release with a natural cut to his fastball. It'll be the low 90s, and he'll cruise there. He can reach back and go to 94, 95, but he'll do that on occasion, or if you just flat out tick him off. He's got a good hard slider, a curveball, and a changeup. Lifetime against these Astros, 3-1 with a 2.93 ERA. Let's take a look at that defense playing behind Madison Bumgarner tonight. Starting in the Giants outfield from left to right, it'll be Maxwell, Blanco, and Pence. Good arms on the corners. Crawford and Duffy on the left side of the infield. Adrianza and Belt on the right side. Buster Posey, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs.
So the Astros come in. They've lost 3 straight. And the Giants have lost 4 straight. Both teams have played well against the other league. The Astros are 10-2 against the National League. The Giants are 10-5 against the American League. So a lot going on in game 1 of this short 2-game series. Bruce Bochy happy about the day off yesterday, but not so happy about the trip to Chicago. You see Joe Panik, who is got a back issue, and the Giants aren't sure when he's going to be back. I suppose that's the concern more than anything, is with some other people that are injured, they have a better idea as to when they're going to return. With Joe, they just don't know. So what do you do when you're banged up? You get to talk to George Cantos. That's not a bad thing. Here's Altuve, and the first pitch of the ball game is on its way, and it's high. So we get started right on time at 7:15. Altuve hitting at .298. He's got 9 home runs. He's got 48 driven in. And he bounces this one foul. He's got a little bit of ownage on Bumgarner. He's 5 for 14 with the home run. He's a tough out.
And his strike zone is non-existent. I mean, he's not a big hitter, hits out of a crouch. He's 5'6", but he covers it well. And really, he'll go out of the strike zone. He wants to swing the bat.
He's the only Astro that's got 100 hits or more, and he's got 128.
Well, that's not new to the Astros. He had 225 hits last year.
Fouls this one out of play.
Umpires for tonight's ball game: crew chief Dana Demuth behind the plate, Mike Estabrook at first, Ed Hickox at second, Paul Nauert at third. And Demuth is a low ball umpire, and you'll get wide strikes early in the count on the corners, but as you get deeper in the count, they have a tendency to kind of narrow up. I don't think he really likes ringing guys up.
Get up the middle and a base hit. So Bumgarner thought he might have flagged that one down, but he doesn't, and Altuve does what he does.
The numbers on Altuve: leads the major leagues with 697 hits since 2012. As you mentioned, 225 hits last season, hit .341, and he won the batting title in the American League. And he is the heart and soul of that team. I mean, he absolutely makes them go. 30 stolen bases on the year, and look for him to go if he thinks he can get a jump off Bumgarner, and that's not an easy thing to do.
So here's the former Brewer, Carlos Gomez. Gomez was just here with the Brewers, and he likes to swing early in the count, and he takes it for a ball, 1-0. He's hitting with the Astros. He's hitting .238, but .259 overall. Out of the stretch for the first time, it's 2 balls and no strikes to Carlos Gomez.
And he'll leave earth right here with his swing. And one thing about Carlos Gomez, you can never accuse him of just feeling his way through a strike zone. He attacks it, and he swings as hard as he can.
He likes Mike to get into counts where he knows the pitch is going to be close, and then he doesn't have to think about whether he's going to swing or not. And he just lets it rip.
Well, and what you see in that 2-0 swing, you're going to see in an 0-2 swing. There's just zero finesse in his approach.
On the ground and a base hit to right field. Altuve will stop at second. So first and second with nobody out.
And he cannot do anything without a little style to it. It's just the nature of his game.
If you remember, Bum and Gomez had a little something going on in Milwaukee. I don't believe Bumgarner faced the Brewers when they were here. So here's Correa, the rookie sensation, the shortstop. And the first pitch is low. 1 ball and no strikes.
Correa, 20 years old. He's a big fella, 6'4", 215 pounds. He is very similar to the size and stature of Alex Rodriguez when he came up with the Mariners. He's a big guy.
And a strike.
It's great. Correa from Puerto Rico took a tour of the ballpark today and made sure that he got a picture by the Orlando Cepeda statue outside the park by the left field side.
Swing and a miss. 1 and 2. Good speed with Altuve and Gomez. On deck is Evan Gattis, and the 1-2 pitch coming up to Correa, and it's low, so it's 2 and 2.
Bouncing that curveball on the plate by design. He's got 3 types of movement that'll work its way into a hitter. The natural cut on the fastball, the slider, and the curveball. He throws 110 pitches in a game and he throws 4 changeups. That's a lot, but he's got one.
Got him.
So he goes to the curveball down the dirt again. And he gets Correa to chase. And that's our Exmo, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. You know you have an aggressive hitter in the batter's box. Correa, 20 walks and 213 at bats this year, so you know he wants to swing it, especially the been on base. And Bumgarner just took advantage of it.
So here's Gattis. Gattis, 17 home runs, 60 driven in. And Bumgarner will spin around and keep an eye on Altuve. You look at Gomez in his lead. You look where Belt is playing. And you're thinking, well, what kind of an opportunity is Adrianza going to have to turn to double play with the speed of Gomez? Got him. Buster Posey would not let that happen.
Why? I don't understand the move. You got Gattis up there. If you're at first base, you're in scoring position. And Altuve out by a bunch. This is the 11th time this year that he's been thrown out. And that is a huge out. But Gattis with 17 homers and 60 RBIs. I mean, you just didn't need to steal that base.
Well, it can sure change an inning around. So now you got Gomez at second with 2 outs. And now Gomez is going to go, and the Giants don't care. So that'll be a steal, his 4th of the year. And that definitely will put a bit more pressure on the defense.
Well, you don't ever try and steal third unless you know you can make it. I mean, you're already in scoring position with Gattis up there with his speed. About the only thing you gain is if there's a ball in the dirt, wild pitch, or a balk.
2 and 2 to Gattis. And a breaking ball down low, so it's 3 and 2. Gattis has 3 hits and 9 at bats lifetime against Bumgarner. There's Jed Lowry, who's on deck.
Gattis, any pitcher that has a lot of stuff that works to the inside corner, man, that favors him. He's a middle-in guy. Despite being 6'4", 260, you would think a guy like that would like the ball middle away, but he's looking for mistakes middle in.
Got him. And that's going to end the inning. Bumgarner pitches out of it. Giants are coming up. Scott Kazmir is going to face this lineup. It'll be Blanco and then Matt Duffy hitting second tonight. And you can see what he's done in interleague. Very good. Posey third, followed by Pence, the cleanup hitter, then Bell, Crawford, and Maxwell. Adrianza will hit eighth and Bumgarner ninth.
On the hill tonight for the Houston Astros will be Scott Kazmir, the 9-year veteran. He's 31 years of age. This is what he has done this year with two clubs. 6-6 with an ERA of 2.08. Hasn't had a lot of run support, but the numbers are off the charts. 114 strikeouts for Kazmir against 41 walks. Just 96 hits allowed in 130 innings. And when you take your at-bats against him, you're going to see a guy that can combine power with finesse. And you'll see a fastball that goes 90, low to mid-90s, depending on the grip. And he'll cut the ball. He'll throw you a curveball, slider, changeup. He'll give you a lot of different movement, but with great command. And he's having an outstanding season. And right now, he's hot.
So here's Blanco hitting at 286. And they got an overshift on for Blanco. And I guess maybe they have a good reason as to why.
That's an invitation.
Yeah, Blanco looked like he might try to slap it that way, and he might try to do it again. And he fouls it at the plate. It's 0-2.
Well, he absolutely tried it again.
Well, the problem is you know what the Astros are saying. What's worked? It's 0-2.
Yeah, he took him out of his at bat. He doesn't need to do the running start, though. I mean, he could sit there and just do his normal stance, normal stride to the ball, and hit a ball to that side and beat it.
1-2. So Lowry, the only defender on the left side of the infield.
The defensive shift, which is so common around baseball now.
And more so with these guys than anybody. Little flip job into right field. And racing in is Marisnick, so out number one.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Houston Astros for tonight's ball game. It'll be Gaddis and Gomez and Marisnick. That's your outfield, and all of them with great arms. Correa and Lowry on the left side. Altuve and Carter on the right side. Hank Conger will be in the squad putting down the signs.
So here's Duffy. Duffy hitting at 307, 9 home runs, 51 driven in. First pitch strike, says Dana Demuth, and it's 0-1.
Houston defense is very good. Cover a lot of grounds. They're very athletic.
Duffy drives one center field. Gomez back, still back, and at the wall, he makes the catch. So Gomez taking one away from Duffy, 2 down.
He paid a price for it. That just absolutely takes on center field. I mean, he's going full bore. Wow. Talking about fearless. This is just a spectacular play, and how he even held on to the ball once his glove slams into the back of the wall. I don't know. You won't see a better play than that. That is defensive brilliance. And you talk about a guy that can fire up a team. Well, that's how you do it.
So here's Buster Posey.
Wow.
Outside to Posey, hitting .332, 16 home runs, 75 driven in. High and foul. This one down the right field line. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I mean, we have to see this catch again. I mean, it just does not get any better than this. I mean, Duffy backspins this thing, and we're thinking it may be out of here. At the very least, it's extra bags. And Gomez taken on the wall with absolutely not a thought of concern for his body. High backhander. I mean, that's brilliant.
Out of play. Look out. It's 1-2.
I think, I'm not so sure if he doesn't catch that ball, it doesn't go over the fence. Wow.
To third, Lowry on the back end. In time, and that's going to end the inning. Terrific play by Gomez. We played 1 inning. It's 0-0.
That was amazing. Spanish radio play-by-play announcer Erwin Higueras will host an exclusive Q&A session in both Spanish and English. Guests will include Roberto Kelly, Hinsley Mullen, Santiago Casilla, Tito Fuentes, and the guest of honor, Giants Hall of Famer Juan Marichal. Your Los Gamers special ticket also includes a Juan Marichal t-shirt and a ticket to the Giants-Nats game. You need this ticket, go to sfgiants.com/special events.
No score. Here's Lowry. Lowry rolls it foul. Carter and then Hank Conger. Lowry hitting .284, 4 home runs, 13 driven in. When the Giants played the Astros earlier in the season, Lowry was on the disabled list. Here he takes a pitch for a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's a good pitch. That's one that Bumgarner wants.
There's a strike. Well, you should want it if it's a strike.
I mean, those are ones you want to get early and know that you're going to be able to get the knee-high location on both sides of the plate. Corner strikes, I mean, that's the difference between a good night and a rough night.
Got him. Hey, Amy G's here tonight. We've missed Amy on the road. Amy?
Oh, I missed you guys too. All right, let's get fans updated. Angel Pagan has been placed on the disabled list with right patella tendonitis. The Giants recalled Juan Perez from AAA Sacramento. Guys, Pagan's been dealing with the tendonitis for about a year. He did receive a plasma enrichment injection. The Giants are hoping that shot combined with some rest will help Pagan get healthy.
All right, Amy, here's Carter, and Carter ropes one foul on the third base line. Juan Perez is here, so he's active and ready to go tonight should the Giants and Bruce Bochy need him. And we watched Angel Pagan, and you know, he was out there as much as he could, and there were some times you could see that the leg issue bothered him defensively, but you just don't know how much the leg issue bothered him offensively.
Well, he hasn't hit a home run all year, and you know, that in itself tells you that there's something wrong with his foundation when he's not be able to use his legs in his swing to get the power. I mean, he's always had gap power, and he'll run into a home run. Watched him over the years, and this year without the power numbers that are totally absent, you have to wonder how much of his base he's been able to use.
Well, get him healthy and get him back at the right time. In the dirt, 2-2 to Carter. Carter's a big fly strikeout guy. 17 home runs, 123 strikeouts. Got him.
Whew. 4 strikeouts in a row. And this is the first call, strike 3. And this time he gets the knee-high location on the outside corner. Boom. Grab some fine meat.
So here's Hank Conger. 242 hitter. He's got some pop. 8 home runs, 21 driven in. He's a switch hitter. And the 1-0 delivery is a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's pounding that outside corner. We talked about how hot he's been these last 5 starts, 3-1 with a 2.08 ERA. His breaking stuff has been fantastic. And usually you get into this time of the year, it's common to see a slider get a little lazy, but it hasn't happened with Bumgarner. His specialty pitches have even gotten better. I think they're better now than they were in April.
Well, for whatever reason, the first 2 hits of the game must have ticked him off.
He has definitely cranked it up a notch, or 3.
Cued foul right past Jake Marisnick, who's on deck. Dodgers and Nats are underway in Los Angeles. Game is in the 2nd inning. It's 0-0. Down low, 2-2. No swing on the appeal. Mentioned the 3 losses in a row. They They being the Astros beat the A's on Thursday night. They beat the A's in extra innings 5-4 and then lost the next 3. All close games and for the most part low scoring games. 3-2. They came back and not just tied the game Sunday, but they took the lead in the 9th and then spit it back up and lost on Sunday afternoon. Got him. And that's 5 strikeouts in a row for Bumgarner. Pence, Bell, Crawford coming up.
Is brought to you by the Solar Company. Not just any solar company. The Solar Company. Switch to solar and save.
No score, bottom of the 2nd. And for the Giants, it'll be Pence, Belt, and Crawford. Maxwell, Adrianza, and maybe even Bumgarner. There's Pence way out in front. No balls and 1 strike.
You're going to see a lot of different pitches on the first pitch from Kazmir. I mean, I think he feels as comfortable throwing his changeup or his curveball or his slider as much as he throws that fastball. I mean, it just all has the same feel for him. Not a big guy, 6 feet tall, 185 pounds. That's not big for a pitcher. And he'll also cruise at high 80s to 90-ish with a certain speed. Then all of a sudden you get to a 2-strike and he'll buzz you across the letters with 95. I mean, he's got to reach back velocity.
So 1-2 to Pence. Pence hitting at 298, trying to reach for Brandon Belt. And he pokes it foul. That's one of the pitches Mike was talking about.
Take a look at what Kazmir will throw. You're going to see 57% of the time you're going to see a fastball, but then curveball, slider, cutter, changeup. I mean, a lot of different movement. And nobody's really torching any of one of his movements or speeds.
Correa. 1 out.
And there's Ed Sprague. His wife Kristen and his son Ed. Big leaguer. 11 years he played the big leagues out of Stanford. Recently he's been the coach at University of Pacific. And glad to see him around the ballpark. I always thought this guy'd be a manager in the big leagues. He knows the game as good as anybody. His wife Kristen, also a gold medalist, Olympic synchronized swimmer.
Ed, overachiever. Way to go. We love those guys. No, he's a terrific guy, terrific coach. We had a chance to spend a lot of time with Ed after speaking at a couple of his events in Stockton. There's a call strike, and I don't know if Ed ran it or his wife, but it was very well run.
Well, it got done. It was fun. But I'd like to see him get back in organized baseball because, you know, I got asked this a long time ago. Who'd be a good manager? Well, Ed Sprague Jr. would be a great big league manager.
Another ball hit out to Gomez. 2 outs. And here's Crawford. Crawford hitting .266. He's got 19 home runs, 71 driven in. Crawford has faced Kazmir 3 times lifetime. He's 0 for 3. Overshift again is on, and it's low and away, 1-0. Swing and a miss by Crawford.
He wouldn't out front. That's the thing about Crawford that's impressed us this year, is how consistent he's kept his legs in his swing. It's rare that you get him to reach.
To left field, and there's the first hit of the game for the Giants. And Crawford's going to go for 2, and that's where he'll end up.
As we see him do so often, going the opposite way with left-handed pitcher out there on the mound. A little two-seam fastball on the outside corner, staying down right through it. Watch the head stay still, and the bat head goes down and beats the pitch. It's just great plate coverage on a pitch that wasn't a hanger. I mean, that's pretty good location from Kazmir's perspective. The guy beats you that way. I mean, he has to go the opposite way to do it. Nice at bat.
I know that Gaddis got to it and kicked it around a little bit, but Crawford was going to go for 2 and make it anyway.
Gaddis does not have great range in left field. He does have a great arm.
So here's Maxwell. And another overshift. And a nice play by Conger, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. I'm not sure which one of the Giants that the Astros didn't overshift on, but they've at least overshift on 4 of the first 7 hitters. And the throw goes into center field. And Crawford's going to go to third.
That's a big 90 feet, and it changes the whole at bat. Now watch how Tuve tried to lean on him to prevent him from getting up. Now Tuve never really had a chance. If the throw had been on target, they may have had a chance to pick him off.
So now you get a little bit more pressure on Conger, the catcher. Two balls and no strikes. Let's see where the Giants rank this year. Situational hitting. And really, the top three departments are the most important department, and they're first. Out of play, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Casimiro pitched for the strikeout here. The Astros are giving up a run in the middle of the diamond. I beg your pardon, it's 2 outs.
So it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Two and 2.
Little cutter at 92.
Infield playing Maxwell to pull. Outfield playing Maxwell the other way. High and foul down the right field line and out of play.
Ballpark's got carried to right field for right-handers tonight. You don't see that very often.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Adrianza to follow should Maxwell extend the inning. And a full count.
Adrianza chalking up, would like to hit.
And the walk.
And I thought there was one. I'm out of shape. I missed 5 games. What the heck?
4 games, 5 days.
It was. You weren't counting, were you?
About over 100 hours. Well, the guy doing color wasn't very good.
You did great.
So here's Adrianza hitting at 222. On the ground to short. And that'll end the inning. Giants trying to pair. 3rd inning coming up.
The last 5 hitters that Bumgarner's face struck them all out. Breaking ball, breaking ball, breaking ball, breaking ball, and oh, by the way, how about one more breaking ball? And that has been the payoff for him. 2 curveballs, 3 sliders. And since the break, we talk about how he's gotten stronger with the breaking ball. Here's proof positive. Percentage of strikeouts 40%. That's post All-Star. And the chase percentage 43% improved. It just gives you an idea of how manly the guy is. I mean, this is the time of year where your sliders can get a little lazy, curveballs can get a roll. His are getting quicker.
Marisnick pops it up. Buster doesn't see it, but it's really not going to matter. It's out of play. Still kind of a weird feeling, knowing that if you didn't see that one, maybe the next one you're not going to see either. Down low, 2 balls and 1 strike. All back. Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him. 6 in a row.
And that's a 92-mile-an-hour fastball inside corner at the knees with cut. And right now he's got Dana DeMuth looking for strikes. 6 strikeouts, 2 called strike threes on Irish night. Six in a row. That's a career high. He's done it 5 in a row. He's done that a couple times.
So here's Scott Kazmir.
And this is the payoff pitch, a little 2-seam fastball. He just absolutely nails the inside corner. And Marisnick can't believe it.
Oh, and 2.
I'm feeling pretty good about number 7 here after that swing.
Okay. Got him.
7. Well, follow the Giants all season this year with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. You get up to the minute in-game highlights, live look-ins, replays, radio broadcast, StatCast, which is John Miller's favorite thing, and more. So check out MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or your tablet.
Altuve opened up the game with a base hit. He did that about 45 minutes or so ago, and he's got another one. You expect him to swing the bat. And this guy too.
2 outs, your leadoff hitter on base. Look for a steal attempt here. And this is go time if you're a base stealer. Well, one guy's 6'5", the other guy's 5'6". That's great about the game of baseball.
If I'm Altuve, I'm going to stand on the base. Gomez single into right field in the first. Here he bounces this one to Crawford, and that's going to end the inning. It'll be Bumgarner to lead things off.
to you by Stanford Healthcare. Visit us at stanfordhealthcare.org.
No score here in the bottom of the third. All right, here's our Togos play the Togos way. June 12th, 2012. Astros, bomb, gone. And he hit that off of Bud Norris, his first career home run. Got the silent treatment, and then they couldn't stand it any longer. That was the last time they ever did that.
Yeah, he doesn't play the silent treatment.
After that, he just told everybody, I'm going to beat you up if you do it again. And a strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Bumgarner, 3 home runs this year, 5 runs batted in. And he takes that pitch above the belt, 2-1. Blanco and then Duffy. 2-2. He kept that ball away from Bumgarner. I mean, word's out. I mean, this is not a secret anymore that this guy can hit. So.
Well, if you're pitching against him, you see him take 1 swing, you know the guy's got a clue. But he doesn't make adjustments either. He wants to hit the Coke sign on every swing.
He's like Carlos Gomez. Out of play.
Kazmir going at him. Challenge fastball at 92. I mean, that's really all that he hopes is he's going to get a challenge fastball at some point in the bat.
So Bumgarner steps out. Three and 2. Got him.
93 to right in the outside corner. And that's been the best velocity fastball he's had. That's the reach back we're talking about with the velocity on the fastball. How he'll cruise at the speed and then all of a sudden zip you on a 2-strike count. I mean, he's got a great clue of what he's doing out there. I mean, he's got so many different movements he could give you. And really, if he had to, he could power pitch.
Oh, must be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you combine power with finesse. I mean, there aren't many guys like that walking around.
So here's Blanco. Blanco's trying like crazy to hit a ball to the shortstop.
I mean, he's just out there inviting him.
It is.
I mean, here's the land of just reward. And he just can't seem to get that ground ball through the hole. It's a dare defense. They're daring him.
One ball and 1 strike with Pagan on the shelf. This will be the guy playing center field, and he's been playing well this year. Defensively, he always plays well. One and 2. Duffy on deck. And a base hit to left field.
That's what he was looking to do. And he gives the White Shark sign back to his dugout. Opposite field, 2-seam fastball, makes it look easy. And really, that has been one source of his improvement this year. And the highest he's ever hit as a Giant's 265. This year, going into that at bat, he's hit 285. Now it's 288. And a lot of those hits have gone to left field.
So here's Duffy, who had a hit taken away from him by Gomez on a great play up against the wall in straightaway center field. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Kazmir took something off, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Anything in any count. I mean, he's a guy you can't try and outguess him pitch by pitch. You can't think curveball or slider or changeup or fastball, but you can think slider speed, or you can think fastball speed. You can think in, you can think out.
Big hole between Carter and Altuve, with Altuve really shading Duffy towards the bag at second. Out of play, 1 and 2, good swing.
Oh, he's on him.
Told you about the play that Gomez made on Duffy. This was it on third.
This is one of the best plays we've ever seen. That's how good this play was. I mean, you take on a wall completely extended to a high backhand, and you take away a ball that had a chance to go out. Your hand slams into the wall, and you somehow manage to maintain a grip on the ball and make the play. That's defensive magic.
Got him.
2 times in 2 strike counts this innings. With a fastball, he's gone away.
Dave Fleming, he'll be in. Innings 4, 5, and 6. We'll see you back here in the 7th. Here's Buster Posey. Buster bounced out to third in the first. So Kazmir doing what he needs to do, and that's keep Blanco from having any thoughts about stealing second. Outside for a ball. Buster up the middle and a base hit. Blanco's going to put on the brakes. So Pence an opportunity. Pence bounced out to the shortstop Correa in the 2nd inning.
I think the approach that the Giants have had tonight against Kazmir has been a very solid approach. A lot of opposite field hits, a lot of balls back up the middle. And they're not getting greedy on him. But let the guy who's hot get greedy, and Hunter Pence has been hot.
2 for 6 lifetime against Kazmir. That's including his at bat in the 2nd. Outside, 1-0. Marisnick is fairly shallow in right field, and he is not guarding Triple's alley. So good speed at second, and Gregor Blanco. Curveball, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Off-speed stuff with a curveball that time in the 1-0 count. He's got an open base to play with here with 2 outs, so it's not a situation where he just has to challenge out. He can decide who he wants to pitch to, Pence or Belt on deck.
Pence out in front again, 1-2.
Backed up the big slow curveball with a changeup.
There's the Gotham Club, the view.
It is the coolest bar in town. Inside, you look at the McCovey Cove, beautiful behind the bar. Then you turn around, and you look through the scoreboard and see a ball game. How cool is that?
Got him, and they'll end the inning. Kazmir strikes out the side. Dave Fleming will be in. I'll see you back here in the 7th. It's 0-0.
Ten strikeouts in this game, 7 by Madison Bumgarner, and joining us now, Dave Fleming. How you been?
Hi, Mike. I've been good.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
It was not the same without Dave Fleming around every day.
Well, it's for all of us good to be back home in San Francisco, of course. But we did miss you in Chicago. You know, you mentioned that pitching. Bruce Bochy, we were talking with him before the game, and this guy Correa is getting so much attention now for good reason. Nice curveball from Bumgarner to start off the 4th inning. And all the home runs, all the strikeouts, there's a lot of focus on their offense. And Bochy made sure to emphasize this is a pitching team. They're winning because of their pitching.
And their defense. I mean, they can outglove you, and they can outpitch you. And we're talking with the starting rotation and with the bullpen. It's solid across the board.
I mean, how many better plays have we seen than Carlos Gomez?
That's one of the best I've ever seen.
Ever. Good fastball.
But in a start that is so huge to the Giants, who ride a 4-game losing streak coming into this one, they need a big league stop job. They're getting a performance from Madison Bumgarner. He has been on.
1-2. Correa strikes out. What a beautiful cutter from Bumgarner. Another strikeout. He's got 8 of them already.
This is a cut fastball at 88 miles an hour, and you can see that it's kind of got a similar type of a rotation of his slider. The little dot on the slider, not as big, but at that speed and as quick as it is, it's just a lethal pitch. And for Correa, who's seen it for the first time, good luck with that.
Yeah. So now Gaddis, who's got all that raw power. Change up, and this is outside.
He gets up there, he's got a big bat, no gloves. I mean, this is caveman baseball right here. he sits into a squat. You know he's looking low. He's looking for something he can just yank.
Hits that one hard on one hop. Crawford throws him out. 2 down. The strikeouts are fun. The strikeouts have been a big part of this game, but those quick outs are valuable.
They really are. I mean, that really is the goal of every pitcher. You want to get quick outs, and a quick out is to have the at-bat determined within 3 pitches. If you get it done in 2 pitches or 1 pitches and get it out, even better.
Here's Lowry, the switch hitter. That's that little backdoor slider, cutter, strike 1.
Rick Russell, who was a teammate of mine in Chicago and here in San Francisco, great pitcher. I mean, he's just a tremendous pitcher. And they used to ask him, what's a perfect game? 27 strikeouts? He said, no, 27 first pitch ground balls to the infield. Like this.
Yeah. Crawford can take his time, shows off his arm. That was 8 pitches total for Bumgarner. That was a highly effective inning. Nothing game. Time for our McDonald's True Stories. Yesterday's this date in Giants history. So yeah, you have to go back to August 10th, 1989, and a chance to recognize an all-time great Giants moment. Dave Trevecchi's comeback game, 8 innings pitched against the Reds. What a performance, what a night. We will never forget that one.
Well, that was really one of the true miracles that I've witnessed in my life. And he came back to us and gave us 2 starts. But we were leaking oil. I mean, it's the dog days of summer, and you look for ways to energize your club. He energized and inspired our entire team, and it was just an incredible story. And to know him as we have over the years, and how he's lived his life following his bout with cancer, he lost his arm. He's one of the real special human beings we've all met.
Well, I'm glad we did that, because you can't have that date fall on an off day and then not we recognize that every year because of what a special moment it was. Now, Brandon Belt against Kazmir. The Giants don't have a run. They've had a lot of good at bats against this guy, who is very, very tough.
Well, he's got a lot of weapons, and he never really gives you the impression that he's backed into a corner and has to give you something you're looking for. And most of the guys that pitch like that are guys that throw mid-80s, but he can throw low to mid-90s with his fastball. So you get an idea as to why this guy's special, and he's putting up the numbers that he's putting. I mean, he's only 6-6 win-loss record, but his ERA
2.08. He's given his team a chance to win every time he's gone out there.
Belt, and that's a little slider in there for strike 2 called. Up to the moment, his ERA for the year 2.03. That's for the full year. He's made a start basically every turn. In the dirt, wildly.
I mean, you're right. That's 133 innings. And in those 133 innings, he only give up 99 hits. This is how he ranks. ERA second, hits per 9 second, opponent's batting average third, opponent's on base percentage fourth, walks and hits per innings pitch fourth. If you're having a year where your whip, your walks and hits per innings pitch is right around one base running per inning, you're having a good year.
3-2, Belt pulls one foul.
But you're always going to be at the mercy of your offense. I mean, if your team doesn't score for you, I mean, it's part of the deal. And that's why it's getting so difficult to see 20-game winners in this era, because pitch count. Some years guys don't get a lot of runs scored for them. It's tough.
3-2. Belt hits a high drive. Center field on its way. Gone. And the Giants are on the board 1-0. Man, he crushed that one. So finally for Brandon Belt, maybe that power is going to come back home. He just keeps hitting home runs away from home over and over and over again.
And he does it in a 2-strike count. They tried to go at the Belt with the high fastball, and that has been the scout report. Got a little hole there. Not on this one, folks. 2 strikes. See you later. Home run number 16. He had 5 home runs on the road trip, but now he starts out the homestand with a bomb. And the Giants take the lead. Impressive at that.
Very. Well, that would be huge for the Giants. I mean, Belt's having a good year. But almost all that power, that's only his 3rd home run of the season. Almost all that power has been away from home.
Well, he's been AT&T'd a lot.
He has. I mean, a lot of that has to do with the ballpark itself. Strike 2 to Crawford.
I think the significance of this is that this is a fastball at the Belt. He, for a big man, is got a very quick swing. He's a front foot hitter, and most front foot hitters are guys that are really good down low. They're not good high ball hitters. But that time he caught the high ball and backspin it right out.
Crawford stays alive.
You don't see guys 6'5" with compact swings. This is normal speed. I mean, that is just a short, quick little swing of the baseball bat with power behind it. That's 6 home runs in August in 10 games. It's the time of year you want to get hot. He's doing it with the long ball.
Crawford on the ground to Altuve. It's out number 1. And let's go to Amy G. Amy?
All right, Dave, I have an update for fans on Nori Aoki. A pretty scary moment on Sunday when he was hit in the head with a pitch in Chicago. He immediately felt nauseous afterwards and then dealt with a headache, but he did go through concussion tests all day yesterday. He even joked today that the tests were so long he may have gotten a concussion from how long the tests were, but he's feeling really good. Bruce Bochy said he is available for tonight's game. He just felt another day off would do him well. Gentlemen?
Okay, thanks, Amy. Good update, important update. I mean, particularly with the news that Angel Pagan is on the DL. Now, they need Aoki. They need Blanco. Just about every day, those guys are going to be out there. Justin Maxwell get a few more at bats. Finally gets impatient with Kazmir. Maxwell had a good plate appearance his first time up. He took a lot of pitches, fouled off some tough ones, and drew a walk.
Yeah, I think he had some good balance in his swings, too. I think he's seeing him pretty well.
Off the inside, 2-0. Brandon Belt's home run has put the Giants ahead. A very impressive swing of the bat by Belt. Kazmir throws a curve, taken for a strike.
That's pitcher's pitch. But again, how many times have we seen that tonight? 1-0, 2-0. Throws the changeup with that big slow curveball.
Outside.
I think too, you know, we've seen him do that, especially the guys at power, where he'll throw that 1-0 curveball and then back it up with the changeup, so he'll stay with soft. You better have a good changeup if you're going to throw it after a slow curveball. He does.
Perfect pitch. Not a bad take from Maxwell. It's 3-1. You're looking for something a little more hittable than that.
And that's Dana Demuth's strike zone. I mean, he's a low ball umpire.
Now Maxwell can't be quite as choosy with the count full. Kazmir and Hank Conger still trying to get to know each other. This is only his 4th Astros start. Going in, Maxwell had a pretty good cut.
That's good use of his lower body. I mean, that's a swing, but if he connects, it's gone.
Speaking of connecting, down in L.A., Yasiel Puig just did a 2-run homer, so the Dodgers are ahead 2-0.
That's not cheering me up, Dave.
Well, we'll just move on. That's ball 4.
Another great at bat.
Yeah, really.
And that wasn't a bad pitch either. You know, it's. I think he's a bit surprised that Maxwell didn't go for it. Hey, they're having fun. Got the colors on. Game face. Oh yeah.
I like the medallion, like a Mardi Gras medallion. Adrianza takes a ball.
Kazmir wanted that one. Kazmir doesn't really know Adrianza either.
Well, he had some good at-bats on the road trip. Not a lot of hits to show for it, although he had those back-to-back games in Atlanta with 2 hits apiece. Foul ball, 1-1.
Well, he's frustrated because he knows he's a better hitter than what he showed up here. I mean, he's gone down and he's put up really good numbers in minor league baseball. And then he comes up here and he struggles. And I think what happens to him a lot is that he gets caught between thoughts. He doesn't get committed to a speed or to a pitch. And you can't do that up here. It'll lead the young hitters up. And it'll frustrate you. Saw Hins of the Mulans with Bruce Bochy, and that's what he talks about with young hitters, not mechanics. He talks about approach.
That's a curveball in for strike 2.
And he was not looking soft stuff there, no. So you take it.
It is Irish Heritage Night. I don't know how many of those you see in Ireland. Adrianza, just a little pop-up. Carter, 2 down. So that will not make him happy.
So you don't think you see a lot of those hats in Ireland?
I'm guessing that if you're walking around, you don't see a lot of them. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I've never been there. I'd like to go see.
Yeah. You and Ireland would get along really, really well.
Yeah. I need to find that out.
You would be best friends with Ireland. You know, it's always one of the colorful nights of the year. The only downside to Irish Heritage Night, we do get the Irish menu in the lunchroom. So all the cabbage and you don't go to Ireland for the food.
They had a shepherd's pie in there tonight. So that's not one of your favorites. Huh?
I mean, my kids probably would have liked it. Shepherd's pie is not high on my list.
She would have liked it.
Yeah. Bumgarner rips one to left, but right there is Gaddis. So the Giants are retired, but Brandon Belt, what a swing, a bolt to right center field. He goes bye-bye, baby. The first run of the game on the Giants side. Belt's 16th home run of the year, 1-0. Giants lead.
Comes from Jake Peavy on a tough road trip. He says, I do think this is a better ball club than the ball club we had last year. There ain't nobody in this room panicking by any means. We're thinking we don't have what it takes. And that's true. They just took that road trip as, well, it's over. Move on. And that's what a veteran club does.
I'm shocked to see Jake talking in the dugout.
Oh, man. He is full of life, isn't he?
He is. That is the scene from every night. Chris Carter. There's that low Dana DeMuth strike for Bumgarner, 0-1. And I love it about PV. I know you mentioned the dog days. We were talking about Dravecky and a totally different level, the jolt he gave the Giants all those years ago. But I think you need to have guys who are like that, who no matter what come to the ballpark with energy, with enthusiasm, to carry you through the long baseball season.
I agree. You got to have him. Kirk Reeder was that way. I mean, he was a guy that, he's always upbeat and was having fun, but business came around and he answered the call. Another low strike. But it's just positive, fun energy. Pablo Sandoval.
Pablo was like that. Absolutely.
He was a shot in the arm. I mean, you can't have 25 guys like that, but you need to have a couple.
Carter strikes out swinging. Number 9 for Bumgarner in 4 innings plus an out.
Second strikeout out of the 9 that he's had with the fastball. Here he elevates right across the letters, and Carter just mismatched. Kind of put him to sleep with some off-speed stuff to get to the 2-strike count, then reach back and go country hard right across the chest. Grab some pine meat.
One out. Here's Conger. That curveball misses.
And even his misses, he's not missing by much.
No. Yeah, the first few in the first inning where he looked a little frustrated. And really after about the first 6 pitches of the game, he's just been totally locked in. That's a good one.
I really think that since the All-Star game, I mean, you could visibly see the quickness on his curveball and slider combination to go with the natural cut. They were all quicker, and that just comes from strength. Time of year when guys normally get a little arm heavy, he has not looked at it at all.
And that's been his pattern, man. He is a finisher. On the ground to Crawford. He throws out the catcher, 2 down. Okay, left-handed pitchers career since 1900 strikeout to walk ratio. That's all pitchers in the big leagues since 1900. Who's number 1? Madison Bumgarner.
Wow, that's pretty amazing that all of the top 5 guys are contemporaries.
It is amazing. You have to think about why maybe that is. And part of it is the strikeout numbers are up lately. So that strikeout to walk ratio, maybe you get a boost because there are more strikeouts. 1-0. Marisnik will pop up, and I mean way up. Belt's just waiting. Gets pushed back into fair territory. It's another strong inning for Bumgarner. And the top of the order's coming up in the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Giants.
For our fan photo contest, quickly becoming one of my favorite parts of the night. It is brought to you by T-Mobile. You are looking at these ladies who showed up for camping on Friday night wearing their Orange Friday outfits. We liked it so much we didn't show it on a Friday night. We showed it on a Tuesday. It is Sarah Ellis at Mama's Ellis. We want to see what you've got. Tweet us your favorite fan photos. Hashtag CSNBA data strong fan. Hashtag CSNBA data strong fan. Dave, I have not seen anything from you on Twitter on this. You got to get on it.
The hashtag's too long for me. That's too many letters. That's a long hashtag.
Really?
CSNBA data strong or whatever. I have to look at it again. I'll practice, Amy, I promise. My kids have got some Giants fan photos. Kids were visiting Washington, D.C. They all went to a Nationals game fully decked out in Giants gear. Fully. Head to toe.
Gamers.
Bottom of the 5th, top of the order here, so a good chance for the Giants. Blanco out in front on that off-speed pitch is retired.
Going to see the Nationals this weekend.
Yep.
4-game series. Giants Nationals. It's all part of that 26-game stretch where the Giants are seeing nothing but great teams.
Yeah, and good pitching the Giants will see. Gio Gonzalez last night again. He has been on some kind of roll. And we'll see Gonzalez.
Duffy's had good at bats tonight against Kazmi.
Particularly the one in the first. Man, there he almost falls down. He swung so hard.
I get asked about Matt Duffy a lot. And the question that Giants fans want to know is, do you think this guy is a flash in the pan? Do you think this guy is he going to be able to keep this up? Absolutely. He has a beautiful swing. So does that ball dude. Just that the glove kind of holds him back. Hey, he found a winner. Nice going.
Well, Duffy now has to battle. It's 0-2.
And we talk about his ability to think within an at-bat, to think within a game, make his adjustments. You add all that up with the balance that he has in his swing and an extremely high baseball IQ. I mean, he absolutely is going to be able to maintain this for a long time.
2-2.
And you know, the other thing too about Duffy, there was nothing given to him along the road to get here. Nothing was given to him. He just made you like him by what he did day in and day out with the bat in his hands, the way he fielded his position, the way that he could play other positions.
Out in front of that one. Kind of into no man's land, but Marisnick will get there. 2 down.
Well, Giants fans, you can come out to Pete's Coffee on Friday, August 14th, as Giants pitchers Jeremy Affeldt and Javier Lopez will serve up coffee drinks from noon to 1. Meet Jeremy at Pete's in the Ferry Building and Javi at Pete's on Chestnut Street. You get a free limited co-branded iced coffee tumbler with a purchase of $20 or more. Proceeds from the event will benefit Generation Alive and Juma.
2 down for Buster on the ground, and a backhanded play by Lowry. The long throw is right there. Astros defense is good, real good. On to the 6th, 1-0 Giants. Brought to you by Amici's East Coast Pizzeria. It was Irish Heritage Night. We had all pregame stuff going on. Yeah. Giants fans wearing the green tonight.
There's a lefty. Gamer Babes.
That looked pretty well coordinated.
It's not the first time they've done that.
Choreographed. What a night, man.
That's right there at second. King.
Bay Bridge glowing tonight.
The Willie Brown Bridge.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
See the old span out to Treasure Island and the tip of the new span now beyond. Kazmir, the pitcher, leading off here in the 6th. 1-0 Giants on a Brandon Belt home run. That sort of traced the arc of the Bay Bridge as it went out into right center field. just missing. Kazmir, he doesn't look like he's all that thrilled to be facing Bumgarner. If I open my eyes really wide, maybe I get a better chance. Well, he put it in play. And that was a pretty good pitch. 1 out.
Oh, you're right. He put it in play. I already had the red pin out.
Yep.
I was 1-2. Bumgarner with 9 strikeouts through 5 1/3. I had that one on the book.
Yeah, we color code our scorebook when we keep score. I use blue pen for everything but strikeouts, red for the strikeouts. You use pencil.
Well, you do the Sunday crossword puzzle in pen too, so I mean, I'm a pencil guy. Eraser is a big part of my game.
Altuve against Bumgarner. Altuve's 2 for 2. That one's a pop up and not an easy play. Blanco, well done. He flips it back in. Good jump, good speed, 2 down.
That's what he gives you. And that's an easy one to get froze on because you expect a little more fly ball than you get. And look at the eyes. Stay on the ball. They never blink. Watches it right into the glove, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, well. Ended up being a fun play for him.
I think all those fast guys, when they get to accelerated top speed, that's a fun play. Gomez gives Blanco a little more routine of a play. Well, maybe not. Bumgarner's on a roll. And another quick inning for him. Pence, Belt, Crawford coming up 1-0 Giants.
Bay Area is brought to you by Heffernan Insurance Brokers. Insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com and by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
Great night to be out on the water. Great night to be in the ballpark. 1-0 Giants in the first game of this 2-game interleague series, leading the Astros, the San Francisco Spirit. Coming into McCovey Cove. Everybody get your phones out. Start snapping away.
Well, those Bay Area cruisers, they couldn't have been happier when the Giants opened the doors in this ballpark in 2000.
It's like the #1 stop on the itinerary now.
All right, let's see. Take the loop. Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, AT&T Park. Perfect.
Yep. Head back home.
There's your boat ride.
Hunter Pence, who is 0 for 2, takes ball 2. Giants would love to have even just one extra run. Bumgarner has just been dominant. Ball 3 to Pence. Well, you got Belt on deck. Belt crushed a home run his last time up. And then Brandon Crawford.
Now you can green light here, but you have to look at speed. No guarantee you're going to get a fastball. And it was indeed a 90-mile-an-hour challenge.
The 3-1 pitch. Pence on the ground to short. Correa throws him out. We mentioned the Belt home run in the 4th inning. And there was one thing in particular, Mike, that you thought was really impressive about it, the location of the pitch.
So many guys have taken on a fastball challenge with belt high and above. And it's almost like he's got a little hold there, but he sewed it up on that swing of the bat, and he did it in a 2-strike count, which is even more impressive.
And I think those numbers are important to point out. His swings against lefties have gotten so much better. And it was unusual early in the year when he wasn't hitting them, because in his career he's always been a left-handed hitter who could hit well against left-handed pitching.
3 home runs. You saw the one tonight. 2 of them were in Texas, and both of those were opposite field home runs. Impressive.
That one high and tight. Man. A couple of Texans going head-to-head. Kazmir, when he got traded to the Astros back home, that's his hometown, Houston. Ball 2. Bell grew up a couple hours sort of north, maybe northeast of Houston. I'd have to look at a map. High slider for strike 2. That one is hit well to left field. Gaddis is going to watch this one. Another one for Belt. It's gone. He's got 2 of them tonight. And those are the 2 Giants runs.
Another fastball challenge, and it's not that far away from where he beat him in his last at bat long. And here he takes on left field, and that'll make any pitcher scratch his head. And this place is buzzing.
And that's something else. Crawford takes a curve inside.
I mean, you give up home runs to the same guy twice in a game in both the 2-strike counts. You're scratching your head.
It's his 3rd multi-home run game of his career, but his 2nd one in the last, week?
No, you're right. I mean,
a week and a half.
All 4 against left-handers.
Well, that's unusual. Crawford goes to bunt. Bunts it foul.
And once again, let's take a look. Not a lot of load. And this time he lets that ball travel. It's almost like he's hitting it off his left knee. Backspins it. Being able to backspin a low pitch as a 6'5" hitter, I mean, that's pretty special.
Crawford hits it hard. Diving stop by Correa. Throws him out. Good play.
Well, Crawford having it done to him by another shortstop like he has done to so many others.
We saw how many great plays did we see from Crawford on this road trip? Wow. One after another.
And Correa looked like he had a little lean to his right before he had to come back and go the other way. But in the end, a nice little spear. Gets up to his feet. He's 6'4". I mean, that's a big, tall shortstop. He's got some length where he can reach out and rob you.
That's a strike to Justin Maxwell.
Tip your cap on that one. There's not much you can do with that pitch. even if you're looking for a fastball.
Oh, and 2.
Fastball outside corner to knee, strike one. He comes back with a little curveball. It's 77.
Took that one in the dirt.
By design. Now you're throwing 2 breaking balls that are down around the knees. It sets up a high fastball up above the hands. Connor wants to change up. And that was pitch number 100, and, or 101 rather. And Maxwell did well just to get a piece of that. Watch Kazmir throw that changeup off the curveball a lot tonight, especially with guys with power. Action in the Astros bullpen. Josh Fields, the right-hander.
Did he go? No.
Close. If you don't believe me, just ask Kazmir.
He made a good pitch. Thought Maxwell took a swing. It's 2 and 2.
4 off-speed pitches in a row. Condor wants another one.
Yeah. Curve, a little topper. Kazmir has to hurry. Not in time.
I mean, that's a tougher play for a lefty coming in because he's got to come in at 360. And for a guy like Maxwell, everything's got to be clean. If you have any sloppiness in the exchange, glove hand to bare hand, you're not going to get Maxwell. And he's for a big guy. I mean, he's 6'5", and he can run. Once he gets those long legs going, he's got good speed. And I think it surprised Kazmir. He took a look at first base thinking, uh-oh, I got to hurry. And no way could he make the play.
Yeah, it wasn't even really a terrible exchange. It was just a slight hesitation. And that was enough to cost him. Maxwell's aboard for the 3rd straight time. Adrianza 0 for 2. Got jammed and hit foul.
I think Kazmir thinks he can get in on the swing of Adrianza. Adrianza's got long arms, and he's close to the plate. For a guy who's got a good command of a cut fastball, that's just like an open target. Cutter's a great pitch, especially if you have a hitter with long arms. Left-hander throwing to a righty, righty throwing to a lefty. You can just get the ball up the bat. Sit on that inside corner and just pound away.
That one also not going to be an easy play. Kazmir throws it away. Marisnik anticipated, trying to back it up. Here comes Maxwell, and he will score. On a ball that was hit about 30 feet from home plate. 3-0 Giants.
And the Giants break out the ground attack.
We haven't seen it in a while.
That's the second error of the night for Kazmir. And it's going to be it for him. It's kind of a swing and bunt. It was going to be a difficult play. And then Kazmir, if he makes a better throw, they could get him. But he hurries it. And I think not being able to get Maxwell had everything to do with the way him hurrying that throw. He throws wild, it gets by his Marisnik, and the Giants get another run.
So it's 3-0. Kazmir's coming out of the game when it's time for a change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts.
San Francisco Giants and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of San Francisco Baseball Associates, LLC.
Giants have added on. They lead 3-0. Still batting here in the bottom of the 6th. And the Astros bring a new pitcher, the right-hander Josh Fields, into the game.
Take a look at what he has done 38 games. He's having an outstanding season. 3-1 with a 2.43 ERA, averaging 11.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, 47 Ks against 13 walks. And you're going to get mid-90s fastballs. And he'll also cutter, curveball, slider, changeup. He'll mix it up. He's a former starter. He can give you a lot of different looks. 2 types of fastball.
From the closer in the SEC, where the University of Georgia has been a reliever now with the Astros in the big leagues. It's 0-2, good fastball at the knees.
You don't see many guys coming out of the bullpen that can give you as many looks, quality looks that he can give you. I mean, that's a lot of different movements, and you understand why his strikeout totals are high, because he throws them all too.
Struck out Bumgarner. So the Giants are retired, but not before they get 2 more runs. That song never gets old, and Brandon Belt's had us whistling all night. 2 home runs tonight for Belt. Kite will come back over to the TV side. The Giants lead 3-0.
Local Toyota dealers. Through 6 full innings of play, the Astros no runs on 3 hits, 2 errors. Giants 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors. In a duel between 2 classic lefties, it has been Madison Bumgarner who has dominated 6 innings strong with 9 strikeouts. Brandon Belt, the offensive hero for the Giants tonight, a couple of solo shot home runs. His last 4 home runs have come against lefties, and it is now 3-0. Giants, and here again is Dwayne Kuiper.
All right, check out that note.
Those consecutive strikeouts, 7 consecutive tonight. They tied Marichal and Sanchez. Personal high for Madison Bumgarner.
And a little disappointed he did not strike anybody out in the 6th.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, really kind of looking forward to those strikeouts. Well, he's got Correa, who's at the plate right now, twice. Up the middle, Adrianza. Nice little backhand. 1 out. That's the play that Joe Panik is so good at. Really
Ball to his right, the backhand.
It's almost as if, you know, he's a converted from the shortstop position, as if it's like, well, at second these are easy. Don't have to throw the ball a long way. Here's Gaddis, who may have gotten into one. Blanco back. Blanco at the wall. Blanco leads, and it's off the top of the wall. And Blanco's throw goes all the way into third, and Gaddis has a triple. He almost pulled it off. How about that?
Well, we've seen some kind of defense from the center field position tonight. This was almost another miraculous play. A high fly ball, which allowed Blanco a chance to get underneath it. It just hits off the side of his glove. And he's up. I bet he's upset that he didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know if it had gone out, but it was close. So here's Jed Lowry, who's struck out and bounced out, and Bumgarner right now worried about the hitter more than anything. And a breaking ball for a strike. I mean, he would love to pitch for the strikeout, and he probably is, but outs are important right now. The 0-1. Tap foul, so now he can go after the strikeout.
Gregor measuring out the wall, going up, just hits off the side of his glove. And I got to believe the distraction of the wall kind of took his concentration away from the glove. If you get that much glove on it as an outfielder, you think you should catch it.
That was the fourth hit for the Astros. In tight, 1-2. You know, as many strikeouts as Bumgarner has, Mike, the pitch count's really good.
He's had a lot of at-bats that have been determined within 3 pitches, and that's kept the pitch count down.
The pitch to Lowry. Got him.
Number 10, and when he needed it most. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. And he gets the strikeout he was pitching for. And again, hard slider down and in. And Lowry victimized a second time by way of the strikeout against Bumgarner tonight. Cannot get the job done.
All right, here's Carter, who struck out twice.
That's the one that makes you talk to yourself.
No balls and 1 strike. Gaddis at third. And Bumgarner comes in tight at 92. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 pitch to Carter, swinging a line drive, base hit. So that will put the Astros on the board. It's 3-1.
Well, we saw it with Correa in this inning where he was gearing up his at bat to the right side. He grounded out to Adrianza, started the inning out, but Carter, it looked to me like he wasn't trying to pull the ball here against Bumgarner either. So they're making adjustments within the game. That was a good at bat.
So here's Hank Conger, the catcher. RBI number 48 for Chris Carter. No balls and 1 strike.
These guys are up there just yanking.
Yep. That's the fear when you take on the Astros, is they're really never out of a game because they swing for it, and one hard swing and a connect and they'll take the lead. They'll tie the game.
They lead the world in home runs. They have hit 156 home runs as a team.
They lead the world in strikeouts.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're second. They have 989. There's only one team that has struck out more than that, and that is the Chicago Cubs. They've struck out 1,007 times coming into a baseball game.
1-2. Got him. And that'll end the inning. Strikeout number 11. The Astros are on the board. It's 3-1 Giants. So it plays it. The Giants.
Well, a reminder this Saturday the Giants are going to take on the Washington Nationals at 7:05. It's one of the most popular promo days of the season. Why? Well, because it's Virgin America Day. First 40,000 fans will receive a 2-for-1 flight voucher courtesy of Virgin America. For tickets, go to sfgiants.com/tickets. Yes, it is Irish night.
Yes, and Mom doesn't get to watch the game. That's just the way it is for moms. Blanco takes a strike. Yep. Dad, however, is facing the field.
I think that little one right there is 24-hour entertainment. Yeah. She is
Did
cute.
Dad just fake a sneeze just to calm her down a little bit? Worked in our house. There's a pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Duffy to follow. And then Buster Posey. Fields. Throws low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Nice lively crowd of over 42,000 tonight.
Well, the troops are psyched to get back home, to get on this field in front of these fans.
Tap foul, 2-2.
When you come off of a 10-day road trip in 3 cities where it's been warm, especially one where you lost 4 in a row, and you want to come back to this ballpark and you want to get energized, and it happens.
Yeah, plus home runs energize the crowd. So do strikeouts.
Yes, they do.
They've had both tonight. Overshift is on for Blanco. It's 2-2. Very close, 3-2. In Chicago, that's a strike.
Xfinity Speed Pitch brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest Wi-Fi at home and on the go. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
3-2 pitch. Here it is to Blanco. Out of play. Aoki not in the lineup, but he's okay to play. 3-2 pitch. A little pop-up down the left field line. Gaddis giving chase, and he's going to trip over the mound, and he's down by the tarp. And I hope he gets up, because we do not like to see those bullpen mounds cause injuries to anybody.
It's like a little hurdle down there, and you're not even thinking about it. It's not an everyday occurrence that you have to play a side position in the outfield.
And that's how you
worry about it.
That's how you tear an ACL, just like that.
Or snap 6 vertebrae. I mean, he had a lot of moving parts there.
He was laughing, which tells me a lot about the guy. I'd like to play with that guy.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's one of baseball's good guys.
And the walk. Giants baseball and Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area is brought to you by Monterey Bay Aquarium. Share the wonder, share the love at MontereyBayAquarium.org/love. I'm thinking that last pitch was pretty doggone close.
Well, the strike zone's been pretty much a low strike zone tonight, and that's Dana DeMuth. You don't get a lot of belt high strikes. I think he's had a pretty solid zone tonight, but it's been low.
So here's Duffy. Duffy's 0 for 3.
I mean, Dana DeMuth's been around a long time. I mean, he was around when you and I are playing. Same strike zone.
Duffy takes a strike, and it's 0-1. You know, once they changed the umpires, where they combined National League umpires and American League umpires, I don't know, when there's the runner goes, swing and a miss, and Blanco's going to steal it. Stand the bag, kid.
I don't know what kind of grip Hank Conger had, but it wasn't a good one. And there's the jump. I mean, a pretty good jump. But watch the exchange. I mean, that winds up being one of the best changeups we've seen tonight.
Here's where you got to stay on the bag. See how he just came off a little bit? You can't do it. Down the right field line, foul.
I mean, a stolen base with nobody out, puts a runner in second base. That changes everything. For Josh Fields, he's pitching strikeout now. I mean, it just changes the whole mode. For Duffy, he's changing his mode. He has to get that runner in or over, so he's thinking right side. And this is what he has done this year.
I think he likes down and in.
I mean, I think he pretty much likes the whole strike zone. That's the one that's so hard to lay off of. And it took every ounce of strength that Duffy had to stop the swing.
So it's 1-2 to Duffy. Got him.
Straight down hook. I mean, a good one.
I'm going to show you why Mike and I think that the feet first slide is going to be extinct. See how you come off the bag on those when you slide in feet first. Now had Altuve just kept the glove on him the whole time right there, he'd have been out. And it's really hard if you're going to pop up slide to stay on the bag. And I do not advocate the head first slide, but that's what everybody's going to do.
Well, it's a lot easier to stay in contact with a bag with your hands, but it's also a lot easier to get hurt.
And that is one of the things that instant replay is going to change, how players slide and how middle or any infielders are going to just make sure they keep the tag on the runner. Suppose he's going to get the intentional walk.
But how hard is that for a middle infielder? I mean, you're always, put the tag on, then get your hand out of the way, show the umpire the ball, and protect yourself.
Nope, not anymore.
Now it's put the tag on it and stay in contact.
And stay on it and lean on it. So Brett Strom
coming out.
You're getting to the age where you start to forget things. I think I played with Brent Strom.
Well,
not in the big leagues, in the minor leagues. I think I did.
You played with a lot of guys.
If Brent Strom was on the 1973 Oklahoma City 89ers, then I played with them.
Let's see, 1973.
1973. He was with the Oklahoma City 89ers. And he was there also. Well, they're telling us now it was 74. Well, I was there too, so one way or the other. Hey, Brent, great to see you. Boy, I remember those good times we had.
Hanging out on the bus rides.
As Pence fouls it out of play.
It's one thing you can always have in common with the guys you played with in the minor leagues is you ate a lot of bad food together.
Yeah, and you played in a lot of bad games, and you rode on a lot of buses. You found out really what you could get at Whataburger, because that was the hot spot in the Midwest.
Waffle houses.
Pence, a little pop-up out of play.
McDonald's was called Max Lounge. Go in there and get a surf and a turf, a burger and a fillet of fish. Well said.
Yeah, back in those days, you went, man, you could not supersize. There was no such thing.
No.
Supersize was taking more from somebody else's pile.
Are you going to eat that? There were no leftovers either on the whole bus.
0-2 to Pence. Nice block by Conger. 1-2.
Hunter Pence, a former Astro.
Yeah, when the Giants were in Houston, Pence was still on the DL. And that's where Hunter Pence lives, correct?
Correct.
Pence hits a high towering pop-up to right field. Marisnick is coming in, and he'll put it away.
He had a good pitch.
Belt's got 2 home runs today. Here's what they look like.
Well, and both in 2 strike counts. It was a fastball right at the belt. And as soon as Casimir threw it and left the bat, he knew it was not coming back. And then here in the 6th inning, again, they try to go high fastball with it. This one leaves it a little bit lower, just above the knees, middle away. And he backspins it right out to left field.
When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change tune-up and repair experts. We'll be back. nights, you need a special event ticket that gets you a Giants cap in your school's colors and a ticket to that night's Giants game. Well, remember, you need that special ticket to get the special gift. Visit sfgiants.com/special events. Oliver Perez is on the hill. He's a lefty.
That's right, and it indeed is the same Oliver Perez who started out the season with the Arizona Diamondbacks. 2-1 with a 3.07 ERA. 37 strikeouts in 29 in the third. You're going to see low 90s fastball. He will sink and cut it. He's got a hard slider, and that's it right there. And he's got some funkiness to him. I mean, Perez can give you a lot of different angles with the arm. Low three-quarter, almost to a sidearm with a crossover step. I mean, he's not an easy pickup. Really has found a nice home in the bullpen. Originally a starter. And he's pitched a long time. 10-year veteran.
0-2.
But I mean, he's got a little bit of funkiness where he'll swing around and kick his leg up at the guy at second base. He's got some funkiness to him. Just the way that he takes his sign is a little bit unusual.
Got him, and that'll end the inning. Giants trying to pair. 8th inning coming up. 3-1 San Francisco. We'll talk about the game with Murph and Mac tomorrow morning on KNBR 680. Giants are leading 3-1 here in the 8th. Marisnick, and then we're going to get a pinch hitter. It's going to be Marwin Gonzalez, and then the top of the order. So Bumgarner deals, and there's a bunt attempt foul, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Pitch wise for Bumgarner, that was pitch number 85. Marisnick is 0 for 2. Struck out looking in the 3rd, and he popped out to Belt in the 5th. Down low to even the count at a ball and a strike. This has been a maybe Dave and Mike talked about it, but side to Marisnik, but this has been a great trip to Northern California for the Astros. Forget about what they've done winning or losing. They got to San Francisco on the night of the 5th, and they've been here the whole time. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Just a bit high.
The A's stayed in town. Day off yesterday, and they won't leave until tomorrow. Open activity now for the Giants. Marisnik with a healthy rip. It's 3-2. That's what you call a challenge 3-1 fastball.
Well, I mean, that's how you take advantage of a 2-run lead too. You don't want to walk anybody.
Romo headed down. Got him. All right, let's check in with Amy G. Amy.
All right, gentlemen, we've been talking all night about how banged up the Giants are. How about we talk about one that's on the mend, and that's Andrew Susac. Tonight he began his rehab assignment after going on the DL with a sprained thumb with Class A San Jose. And guys, he had to DH tonight because he had a root canal this morning, and that is zero fun if you've had one. But he's a gamer. DH'd. He went 1 for 4 so far with a single. The game's tied, so he might get another at bat. Gentlemen.
A root canal. Here's Marwin Gonzalez.
That just sounds like it's going to hurt before you even go in the room.
And it's pulled on the ground foul. Gonzalez, a .262 hitter. Trying to get on now for Jose Altuve. And it's down low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Root canal. I think we've all had them, right?
Not yet.
Oh, they're a piece of cake. I actually, the last 3 I had, I just didn't even ask for Novocaine. I said, just knock me out. Just hit me in the head with a hammer. There's Duffy. 2 outs. And here's Altuve.
Take a look at the pitches per inning for Bumgarner. And what's amazing about the 93 total with 2 outs here in the 8th is he's got 12 strikeouts. He had the 20 pitch inning in the first, and after that, I mean, he locked into a flow that was just dominant. And what he has shown again in this hot streak, and the hot streak we're talking about his last 6 starts, his breaking balls have just been so quick. And tonight, no exception. He has been something else.
Altuve is 2 for 3. Bumgarner thought he had a strike, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, we haven't seen the high strike from Dana DeMuth, and he's been very consistent with that.
And there's a strike, and that'll even the count. Be interesting to see what Bruce Bochy is going to do should Altuve reach. We've watched the history of Romo and Carlos Gomez in Milwaukee. That's pulled foul.
No way. Pick it clean. Think you're playing with kids? Bring my glove.
Gomez against Romo is 1 for 10 with 8 strikeouts. On the ground to Crawford. Shouldn't matter. Crawford got him. Altuve made it very close, and that's going to end the inning. Crawford's going to lead things off. It's 3-1 Giants. for the Giants. When it's time for a change, things speedy. Oil change and auto service. Your oil change tune-up and repair experts.
The pitcher now for the Astros will be Chad Qualls, who coming in with a 1.4393 ERA. Qualls has always had a real heavy sinker. It goes low to mid-90s. And the thing that has been unique about him is he's learned to come up with a real hard slider and a changeup, which has given him strikeout capability. And for a guy that can put the ball on the ground to be able to get a ground ball and a strikeout, I mean, that's a true commodity coming out of the bullpen.
On the left field line, a souvenir. It's nothing in 2. 0-2 to Crawford. Crawford, center field. Gomez back. Still back. Gomez in front of the wall makes the catch.
Good luck trying to hit one over his head. You better leave the yard.
Yeah, that's what Belt had to do.
Sound was good. The backspin was good. You're getting carry. For Gomez, can of corn. After that play he made in the first inning off the bat of Matt Duffy, I mean, everything seems anticlimactic. He made one of the best plays we've ever seen early in this game.
So here's Maxwell. Maxwell bouncing ball sharply to Altuve. We'll stay tuned immediately after Giants baseball for Esurance Giants post-game live highlights, reaction, analysis. It's all coming up right after the game. Here's Ari Adrianza. Adrianza had an infield hit in the 6th.
All part of the ground attack.
The ground attack that got the Giants an extra run. It's away from Conger. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Nori Aoki is getting ready. Pull on the ground foul. The way Romo's warming up, I think he's coming in.
Well, you talk about the magic that he's had lifetime against Carlos Gomez, and yeah, you're right. I mean, Gomez is going to lead off for the Astros in the top of the 9th. And I agree with you.
A 1-2.
I mean, the pitch count really isn't that bad for Bumgarner. 97. With all the right-handers coming up, maybe, and again, the lifetime history that Romo's had against Gomez, maybe he's going to come in.
Got him, and that'll end the inning. 9th inning's coming up. 3-1 Giants.
Brought to you by Honda. We think Brandon Belt is that man tonight. And why? Well, because he left Earth twice. 2 home runs, 2 solo shots off Scott Kazmir. And both home runs came in 2-strike counts. And for Belt, home runs number 16 and 17. They have been the difference maker in this ballgame. He is our player of the game, brought to you by Honda.
So Bumgarner indeed back out. And the hitter will be Carlos Gomez, who's 1 for 3. He rolled one through the right side for a base hit in the first inning.
Yeah, the deal is this. I mean, 97 pitches, the big man's going to get a chance to try and close this one out. But if he gets a runner on, he is going to come out of this game.
And the fastball is high. 1 ball and no strikes.
And I think the way that Bumgarner has pitched tonight, he certainly has earned that right. 98 pitches into it. He has struck out 12.
Belt. 1 down.
Ball's not carrying the right.
So here's Correa. Correa is 0 for 3. Two strikeouts and a ground ball to second. Foul back. No balls and 1 strike.
When you think about how his night has gone, Correa, as he struck out his first couple of at-bats, having never seen Bumgarner before. Then his third at-bat, he gets up and he makes an adjustment, thinks the opposite way, thinks right field, and he hits a bullet. The ball was caught and fielded by Adrianza, the Giants' second baseman, but it was a nice little insight to the way this guy thinks within a game. It's a good adjustment.
A high fastball to even the count at a ball and a strike.
Casilla joining Romo now in the Giants bullpen. But those are things you look at in hitters, and you have to remind yourself, Correa's 20 years old.
Foul. Into the Giants dugout. It's 1 and 2. Belt's got it. 2 down in the 9th.
Well, the shift pays off. Big dividends. Another approach to the right side of the field from Correa. And here he just gets beat by the scout report. And a 6'5" first baseman. And he needed every bit of that boarding house reach to get that one.
So here's Gaddis. Gaddis tripled in the 7th. And a strike, and it's 0-1. Gaddis asked for time. Crawford's got it, and that's the ball game. So Bumgarner goes the distance. And the Giants snap their 4-game losing streak. And now the Astros have lost 4 straight. So some home cooking in Madison Bumgarner and a crowd of over 42,000.
Well, just a big league stop job, and they needed it. The Giants bullpen and everybody in that pitching staff really running on E, as Javier Lopez described it. Well, now they've got 2 days off because of this performance tonight.
The losing streak is over, and what a nice win for this team.
All right. Final score here at AT&T Park. It's the Giants 3 and the Astros 1. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Esurance Giants postgame live with interviews on the wrap. That's going to start right now.